put in the position of agreeing or disagreeing to anything. He is here as a transition officer and as a means of communication to the President-elect and his staff as to what is going on and to develop papers. My understanding of the conversation with Mr. Stedman thanked the Secretary of Defense for the information and was provided a small amount of time to go do something about it.
John's earlier question wasn't answered about the DSARC, whether indeed, I guess we should ask whether indeed there were two people that did disqualify themselves, namely Mr. Curry and Schranz, and was that because of the Committee Against the B-1 conflict of interest?
I'm glad to have you ask that, George, because the DSARC does not work for me, and therefore maybe I'll get Brother Woods back on the stand. Review the DSARC process just a minute, because there's a lot of interest in that. The DSARC is a meeting of the principals of organizations who look at a proposed course of action from their point of view of what it is they are examining, DDR&E, technical sufficiency, INL, can you produce it? And therefore, the DSARC is a process which in this case has gone on for well over a month to look at, is it technically sound, is it producible, what are the logistics, and so forth and so forth. Most of those issues were resolved by the individual offices of the assistant secretaries. As we then were awaited conclusions of negotiations, we arranged to have the final DSARC meeting at such time as we had a negotiated contract. We did not have a negotiated contract until really last night, and therefore the final meeting of the offices of the DSARC principals was held this morning, and those that attended were those that were accessible. Mr. Clements is in the hospital, other people were other places. It's my impression that there was no disqualification because they really represent the offices and the staffs of those assistant secretaries. However, I would like to have Mr. Woods to take over.
I couldn't have answered it better myself.
Well, no, I'd like to hear it out of your own mouth.
Take it away, Alan.
If your question is, if your question is, was anyone disqualified, the answer is no.
Well, did anyone disqualify themselves?
No.
Did Curry attend the meeting?
No.
Logically, traditionally, the pattern has been that the DSARC members are the assistant secretary or the DDR&E, the heads of those offices. Is that not correct?
As my understanding is that the DSARC often meets with other than the heads of the offices there, John. That's not correct.
Well, when you come to a big program like this, the big guys sit in the DSARC.
Not necessarily. I don't believe that was accurate with the B-1 DSARC, for example.
So it's just coincidence and accident that Mr. Curry and Mr. Schranz did not sit in this DSARC.
Mr. Curry and Mr. Schranz were unavailable. I think, in point of fact, Mr. Curry was out of town. He was earlier in the week. I can't address where people were at any moment. No one was disqualified, however.
What you say is in conflict with what another Defense Department spokesman told me earlier, namely that these two people were disqualified.
No, that is not accurate. You got incorrect information.
This question was raised on Tuesday, the membership of the DSARC.
Right.
Can you tell us why you did not tell us the membership of the DSARC until after the decision was made?
As I indicated to you, I would tell you that the membership of the DSARC, once the meeting was held, because I didn't know who the membership would be until the meeting was held.
Why weren't they available? Why were not?
I don't know, John. I'll have to look into that for you. I do not know.
Alan, while we have the Secretary here, I would like to ask if the Advanced Medium STOW program has been canceled by the Air Force.
The article in the paper this morning is not accurate. The program has not been canceled by the Air Force, 1. 2, the article in the paper this morning is not accurate. 3, the budget is put together, the final budget decisions are made by the President at the end of the year.
The money out of the budget as of now?
Money is never in or out as of any time. What I said is, 1, the program has not been canceled by the Air Force. 2, the story is not correct. 3, the budget is put together by the President.
Well, the story didn't say the program had been canceled. It said it was not in the budget at this time. Isn't that correct?
No money in the budget? At this time. Gotta be careful.
Ask the question again.
Is there any money in the budget at this time for the Advanced Medium STOW aircraft?
The Air Force's version of the budget, yes.
The Defense
Department's budget.
Well, you're talking to the Secretary of the Air Force, and so I can only tell you what's in the Air Force budget. You'll have to ask the Secretary of Defense.
When do you see Mr. Brumsfeld? Today?
All the time. He's a wonderful fellow.
You have a
Mr. Secretary, has it been taken out of the Air Force budget, the money for the Advanced Medium STOW?
No, it has not.
It has not been taken out of the Air Force budget by the Department of Defense.
No.
Let's ask you
Wait a
an
minute,
easy
there's
one.
no budget document signed by Mr. Rumsfeld taking that money out.
I'm the Secretary of the Air Force. I have a bunch of documents that tell me what the budget as of today is, and the answer is no. The AMST money has not been taken out of the budget.
No program budget decision document
I
signed by
am not
Mr.
the
Rumsfeld.
Secretary. I am not the Secretary of Defense, and you will have to ask his man as to what goes on the third floor. It's a bizarre place.
What are your plans when you're not Secretary of the Air Force?
Well, I am very fortunate to have come from a company, or really a partnership of several individuals who have been looking after our construction and agricultural company. One of the happier aspects among the things we do is we are in the grape and wine business, which is probably very helpful for an outgoing that specifically I am not planning to enter the aerospace business. My immediate plans are to pay attention to a couple of projects that have sort of been weighting my attention. One of them is what do we do about building a winery and other very weighty issues like that. That is what I will do in the longer term. I will probably decide come summer. I intend my family lives here in Washington, and we'll plan to stay here certainly until school is out in summer. I have not worried about that. I've been fortunate, as I say, to have partners that have been looking after our business, and I will think about that after leaving office.
Before the backfire bomber, did you indicate
A good idea.
in your comments before on the backfire bomber, did you indicate that it looks like the backfire might be more than a 250 plane program? And are they building a tanker to service that?
Yes, the Soviets are building a wide-body tanker to service what? You will have to go to Mr. Brezhnev's press conference. To how many aircraft, I did not say. They're building more than 250. I said the production rate is currently, appears to me, to be higher than the currently envisioned B-1 rates. But there's a great deal of, you cannot look at what the Soviets are going to do. You can only get some idea of what is coming out of the plants today.
Thank you.
Speaking to the tanker, does that make the backfire or that's continental bomber?
I think they are building a wide-body tanker.
The information is now released. I wasn't leaving. I work here, you know.